Luca.
Oh my God.
You're live, Luca.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the final session of our digital festival, which took place this week. We hope you enjoyed the festival, that you were able to learn from one another, to make new friends, maybe. And this is the final session tonight. We have an amazing lineup of speakers, although we are still waiting on a couple of them, which is why we are a little bit late. So our host is Miss Kate McGrew, who is the ICRBC co-convener of the board, as well as a director of Sex Worker Alliance Ireland. And Kate will be the one hosting the event tonight and introducing all our amazing speakers and giving you the rest of the information. So enjoy the final panel, and thanks everyone for being here all week, or being here just tonight.
Client calling at the top of the hour. Perfect. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Building Our Power. This is a really exciting panel that we have tonight, because we've been talking for this entire week about our massive challenges, and they are many, and we know what they are, and they can feel so insurmountable sometimes. And so tonight we really just want to celebrate our real successes. We want to celebrate our real progress and our resilience and our strength and our sheer power. So the people that we have here tonight need no introduction themselves. However, I will. And I'm Kate, by the way, Kate McGrew, a sex worker, director of Sex Workers Alliance Ireland, and co-convener the International Committee for the Rights of Sex Workers of Europe. So let's get right into it, because we have amazing people speaking tonight. First, let's listen to Antonella Lerca Duda. This is really inspiring. She is the first trans woman to run for public office in Romania. So she's here to tell us about the campaign and the nascent sex worker rights movement in Romania. Take it away, girl.
Hi, thank you, Kate. Thank you all. I'm very happy to be here with you, and I'm very glad that this festival of sex work happened. It must happen because it's needed in this difficult time. We need to give empowerment to our community. You are beautiful, you are valid, and you are one of the citizens with full rights of this world. So just be yourself and do whatever makes you happy to do, and be whatever you want to be. I am Antonella Lerca. I'm a proud trans woman and Roma and sex worker. I am from Romania in Bucharest. I am the president of Sex Work Call Romania, the first organization in Romania who fight for the rights of the sex workers in Romania. And we born with the help of International Committee for the Rights of Sex Work Europe, with the help of Luca. We do a lot of stuff. From when we start until now, we are very, very proud of us at the point where we are. I also candidate for a public place in District Bucharest. Unfortunately, I didn't have the same opportunity and equal chance with the others competitive, but it's okay. I just wrote my new book in Romania. It's the first book wrote by a sex worker. So yes, my dear community, you can also write book, you can also play theater, you can also be a politician. So don't never give up. You should be happy of yourself. You should be proud of yourself, and still fighting for equal rights all over the world. We know that it's difficult time. We know it's hard for us to passing all this COVID-19 period, but we passing in the history and in the past, we passed a lot of more difficult times. So we're gonna pass even this one. We always passing all this terrible episode, and we grown bigger and more courageous with more more fighter and more energy to fight for our rights. And of course, let's see your questions. I'm here for you. Thank you, Katie.
Oh, thank you, Antonella. And tell us the title of your book so we can find where we can find it.
Well, how other can be if not sex work is work. So my book is Sex Work is Work, a transgender story. It will be soon also in English. For the moment, it's only in Romanian. It's 200 pages, wrote it by me, and it's also an educative book because we have the definition of decriminalization of the sex work, what the transgender mean, and all this kind of stuff. So it's a book about my life, the autobiography, but also we can educate people and teach them how to be respectful with us and how to use pronoun and how to use the right words when they speak to us.
Amazing. Can I ask you, Antonella, did you find that you had skills from being a sex worker that translated into your pursuit in politics there?
Yes, politics for me, it was a good episode because I learned a lot from the campaign. Because when you are a sex worker, you are afraid to go for public places and to candidate for a public politician place. But I had that courage in me, inside of me, and I say yes, I must try because I have a lot of historical activism behind me, which will give me the strength and the power to go there and say I'm here for my people because my people send me here. And I always think that the sex work community and the work with a lot of clients and always socialize with clients, with the community, give me a lot of experience.
Amazing. So your book is going to help change the culture, and it'll be amazing. You keep running for office and get into that to those structures and really be able to work from the inside out there. It's so important to work from both of these angles. So thank you so much, Antonella, for your amazing work, and we wish you the best of luck. And we can't wait to hear all about it and see so much more. Thank you,
Katie.
much.
Thank you. Big kisses, big hugs.
You too. Can't wait to see you and touch you. Mwah. Thanks so much. Let's move on now to another woman who needs no introduction, and that's herself, Miss Juno Mac, member of SWAY and of course, I'm sorry, SWARM. You're welcome anytime with SWAY, Juno. And co-author of what up until the publication of Antonella's book there was really a standalone book in its own way, the Bible for sex worker rights, or Quran, or whatever we want in this moment. And that is, of course, Revolting Prostitutes. So if Juno could tell us a bit about that book and also about maybe the work that's been done throughout this pandemic, that'd be great. Thanks, Juno. You're muted. There you go.
You'd think at this point in the pandemic, I would have learned to unmute myself, but there you go. Thank you, Kate. It's really nice to be invited to speak on a panel where, the aim is not just to kind of talk about difficult things or talk about stuff that has been going wrong, but also a celebration of the things that have been going right in the movement or things that we're proud of. So I'm really happy to be here to talk primarily about this book, Revolting Prostitutes, that I'm one of the authors of, along with Molly Smith. It came out in 2018, and I was approached on my own to write that book in about 2016. Initially, I actually said no. I was really hesitant to agree to write the book just because of what like a huge amount of responsibility to take on by myself. But after talking it through with people, I realized that passing up an opportunity like that, it might not come around again. And it felt important to, take an opportunity that so many people would be thankful for. So I asked the publishers if they'd agreed to let me write it with Molly. And they agreed. And I thought that it would be good to work with Molly because it was actually Molly in the first place that explained a lot of key political ideas to me as an activist when I first started out in sex worker spaces. And it wasn't even that many years prior. And it was still really fresh in my mind, the way that she'd helped me to understand ideas which feel simple now, but at one point were really radical, like the idea that work shouldn't define us, the idea that like good notions of good work don't necessarily have to be what we build our argument on for having workers' rights. You know, it was her that radicalized me in a way. And I felt that with that in mind, we together could help frame some of those arguments for other people and to put them in the form of a book, which is something really solid and permanent, unlike the, at that point, tens of thousands of tweets that both of us had written for years, which, you know, we were very active on Twitter at the time. We'd gotten really tired, I think, with years and years of culture wars, lots of stuff, you know, endless arguments between like SWERFs and the pimp lobby that felt really like denigrating and tiring. And I think it was Rennie Edo-Lodge who said to Molly at the time, you know, you could save some of those tweets and put them in a book, and they'll, you know, it might feel healing in a way to get those arguments down on paper. And I'm really glad that she had that advice, because it really has been the case that it felt good to make a lot of our ideas more concrete and less ephemeral. And also to kind of have the uninterrupted space. A book is really like a good chance to say everything you need to say without being interrupted, without having your words questioned, without having attacks made on your character and your perspective and the legitimacy of your commentary. And that was a really new feeling for us, because I think a lot of sex worker advocates are familiar with this idea that you're not allowed to take up any space. You're not allowed to have, you know, you're not allowed to, you're not entitled to your place in the debate. And having the book has really allowed us both to feel like, you know, sex workers are taking up a bit more space, to the extent, and I hope this is the case, that we've included the perspectives of a wide selection of voices in the movement. We wanted to create a piece of work that, because it was going to be less aggressive and less hostile and, you know, brittle as Twitter can be, we wanted to create something that was more nuanced than sex worker organizing often has the chance to be, a little bit more like, a little bit more of a conversation that doesn't base itself on ad hominem attacks on carceral feminist arguments, but really deconstructs their arguments and uses evidence-based arguments for sex work decriminalization. I do kind of wish that it had been read more widely by detractors than I think it has been. It hasn't started as many conversations as I thought it would with people who disagree with us, but there's plenty of time for that in the future. Yeah, I hope that's like made a start. And if anyone has any questions, then I'd love to answer them. I have to say, today's really shown me that I could use a bit more practice at talking about things that are positive. I often feel like I'm in like battle mode, and I'm like, reaching around for some kind of doomsday reminder or some desperate lesson that needs to be imparted. But maybe it's actually quite a nice novel feeling just to embrace a moment of celebration, or maybe just a bit of self-congratulation. It's a new feeling.
Mm-hmm. We have to, don't we? Because again, we're all so familiar with our struggles, too familiar with our struggles with the state, with the police, even within our own movement. And, you know, so it's like, so to celebrate these steps that we make is critical. And, you know, I'll let you know, we have had reports of people reading Revolting Prostitutes in spaces like CEDAW, and we have put them into hands of abolitionists ourselves. So you're right. I mean, it really is a perfect book, because in the way that no matter how often we can talk about crime and safety and poverty, people still will just go out of their way to hear us as if we're glamorizing prostitution or talking in this happy hooker sex slave dichotomy. And this book just makes no space for that. It just puts it right on the nose. The issues of labor that you're talking about, and just the root causes of our suffering, which is the poverty and the marginalization. So yeah, we just have to keep getting the book into more and more people's hands. I think it's been translated into a bunch of different languages at this point, hasn't it?
I think just Spanish at this point, or maybe one or two other languages, and there's talks to do more. But yeah, that's great. I mean, that's just I kind of can't believe it sometimes when I think that people are reading it in another language. And I even saw on Twitter people having an argument about the book in Spanish, including people saying some really objectionable things. But me and Molly were texting each other like, can you believe these people are having a fight about our book in Spanish? That was a milestone moment. I will say that when I was invited to be on this panel, initially it struck me the difference between writing and organizing. I do think that I can see the way that the book is an easy thing to take pride in and to feel some sort of self-congratulation over, but also behind the scenes, there's still work being done in this movement that is not as legible, not as easy to see and touch as the book is, but it's still really crucial work. And there's actually so much of that going on right now through this pandemic. And that writing and indeed reading a book isn't quite the same as doing the work it takes to build change. So I guess I want to give a shout out to sex workers who are working quite thanklessly at the moment all over the world to do that hard work, because it's really grueling. Just this week in the UK, we've had 2 initiatives for the Nordic model that we've all had to be, writing letters about. And I think that I would urge non-sex workers to read the book, to read other books, read Antonella's book, but also the work doesn't stop there. It's not enough just to read a book and call yourself an ally. It's about solidarity. It's about the interconnectedness of everyone's struggles, and it's about actually organizing for radical change. Although if you want to make reading the book your starting place, then we'd be honored. But it's it's about more than that, as Ceyenne and everyone else on this panel would be able to attest.
Right. Can I ask you, and of course it's Molly Smith, just to give her full name out there, the co-author of this book. Can I ask you this? There we go. Look at that. There we go. Yeah. This is such a classic question to ask authors, but I think it's particularly, sex workers, so many of us, I perform myself, I'll sing for you guys later. So many of us have other creative things that we're doing, and we do the sex work to make more, a steadier stream of income, really. And then we discover, we have to be activists to fight for our rights, to survive this and help our brothers and sisters. So, what I want to ask you is about the writing process. When the hell did you write this thing, Juno? What time of day did you do it in chunks? Did you do it throughout the day? Let us know that it's possible. How'd you do it?
Yeah, I always joke that the only way a person can find the time and energy to do sex work organizing or any activism for sex work is to actually be a sex worker, because it's like, I don't mind saying this publicly, but writing a book is not any kind of way to get rich quick. It does not pay generously. You do have to have other means to support yourself. And I think that fact is often glossed over. People aren't very transparent about it. And it is political, because it means that whilst that's the case, you're only going to have privileged people taking advantage of book deals. It's really important that there is provision to pay people to write books. Because it was really not an easy 2 years. It was probably the hardest 2 years of my life. We would just, make whatever time we could. And towards the end, we'd be up all night, every night. And we actually ended up writing and then trashing about 50,000 words when we decided to restructure the entire book on the basis of a meme, which is a whole another story. All of the chapter structure ended up being kind of rejigged. So it was a really difficult process. It might have been a quicker book if we weren't so aware that we might have our words ripped to pieces by enemies. And it might have been a much slower book if we hadn't agreed so much with one another. We like Molly and I see eye to eye on a lot of things. So that made the whole thing easy. We have a very similar writing style. We just wrote the whole thing on Google Docs. Not very secure, but we didn't know any better at the time. We would write the same chapter at the same time, like, you know, we'd be writing different paragraphs of the same chapter, and luckily our writing style is really similar. So at this point, when we reread the book, we don't even know who wrote which chapter anymore. Like, it's all blended into one twin brain, which is a good feeling, because it means that if anyone has an issue with anything we've written in the book, we can each in good faith blame the other person.
50,000 words. So that's
never throw her under the bus like that.
50,000 words. So that sounds like part 2.
Oh, I don't know about that. I think a lot of the stuff we canned from the first draft, when I read it back, it's like the burn book of like pent up anger. There was a lot of anger towards you know, policymakers, carceral feminists, a lot of like reckoning and settling of scores, that once we'd written it and got it all out on paper, we were like, this is incredible. This is very wounded and kind of petty, and it doesn't have any place in our book. It doesn't feel that dignified, but it felt good as hell to get it out on paper. But having written it, we realized that actually we don't need to come from such a defensive place. We don't need to kind of provide screenshots and receipts for every nasty thing that's ever been said about sex workers online. We don't have to highlight quite so much hypocrisy. There's some hypocrisy we highlight in the book, but you don't need to. It's not necessary to defend decriminalization to go after and take a bunch of feminists down a peg or 5, even if they deserve it, even if their own hypocrisy is what would lead them there. It is not necessary, because sex workers need decriminalization. They deserve labor rights, and the evidence points to it without the need to kind of, you know, do the whole she said thing. So that 50,000 words will probably never be read.
It was good to get out there.
Archive. It might end up in an archive somewhere to be read.
Right. Antonella, did you find similarly with your writing process, did you find it helped you clarify your thoughts? Did you find that it helped you get stuff off of your chest? Was it healing? What time of the day were you doing this? How are you people accomplishing this? Are you still there, Antonella?
Yes. I was starting to write at January, so I worked like 1 year. But yes, it was necessary to write this book, because it's all my soul inside of this book, and it's a big scream of my emotional feelings. So I take them out with this book and show them to the people. I want to show them how a sex worker, trans woman, and Roma live her life in this society, in this world, in this whole Europe, and how the dignity of people like me and my community are put it down by the public institution and all this kind of stuff. Also, my scream about the life of a migration for 11 years in Italy, and being undocumented migrant working sex worker in Italy for 11 years, even with the risk to be sent to my country and make jail for this, go in prison. So yes, it was a liberation for me, because I must tell them, you know, always when mass media ask me about my life, I always tell them, yeah, decriminalize sex work, activism, LGBT rights, and all this. But never, mass media never will ask me, how do you feel? What are you thinking about? How is your heart now? what are you thinking to do with your emotional sentiment? So I wrote this book and I put all this, all my mind inside of her. So basically I'm nude. So I'm naked in front of the people with this book. And for a good price, I'm naked for a good price. Actually, I asked more than this book for for an hour, but for the book I will ask only little price. But I faced more difficult time when I was running for councillor in Romania in Bucharest, because when I was publicly announced that I will candidate, the whole conservative side of the politician attack me publicly. The whole church Orthodox from Romania attack me. Everyone attack you, and this attack make me write this book, because I was like sick of all the attacking coming from all over the sides, from politics, from church, from everything. And even it was very difficult year for me, because in the same year they give the law to ban gender studies in Romania. So it was a very difficult time for me this year, and even the pandemic COVID-19, which was hard for sex work called Romania, because we are a small organization, but a lot of member of our community ask for help. So we try to manage all this situation, fighting for trans rights activism in one side, fighting for sex work in another side. It's very intersectional, all the fights. So this book for me was a release and a relief from all my thought and my sentiments.
Oh my gosh. Well, thank you so much for writing the book. It's so beautiful to hear that that it was so healing for yourselves to write, and so helpful for yourselves to write, because it's going to just contribute so much to the progress of our movement for so many people.
Basically, in Romania, it's the first book ever written by a trans woman, because we don't have LGBT poet who publicly coming out. We don't have a trans woman who ever wrote a book. So this will be historical in Romania. I was like yesterday going to the typography and I say, I will give you the first signature. So after 100 years, 200 years, they'll say Antonella was the first who opened the road for another person. Because now, let me tell you that in my community, inside of my community members, they already want to write a book. So I tell them, yes, go away. So yes, it's a good to give courage to another members to do what are you doing. I have like in December 6th, we have political election, and the super conservator ultra right wing win. We have like very legionary nationalist people who win the election, and we all communities and minorities vulnerable were very sad about what happened in our politics. But even like that, we help others activists who are angry now that all the politicians are conservative. They are angry and they want, well, Antonella, what I do when I go, I want to scream out, I want to scream loud about this all shit happened in Romania. And I tell them, yes, focus that energy in something constructive. Let's make activists from you. So yes, it's good for our community to give ourselves courage one-to-one.
It's groundbreaking. It'll move things in leaps and bounds when people courageously put themselves forward like that. So thank you both so much. Really, we look forward to more.
Kate,
yes.
Hello, this is Luca interrupting the live show. I am sorry to interrupt. I just had a little announcement to make. And the announcement is not that the UN has voted for decriminalization and every country has decriminalized sex work. Almost. But we have a little issue with two of our speakers. Sadly, the Ceyenne cannot make it anymore because of something that she had to step in. And Giovanna as well, there was an emergency in Paris and she's hoping to join us a bit later. So there's a bit of a delay with Giovanna. Hopefully she can join us, but Ceyenne will not be able to join us. So instead, we wanted to show you the video of her speech that she did in New York during the Black Lives Matter protest, when they organized protests for Black trans lives. And I don't know if Laszlo, this is possible, if it was uploaded. Otherwise, whenever it's ready, we can show it. And meanwhile, we can hear more from Antonella's. Oh, Ceyenne is here. Ceyenne, are you here? Oh, it's Casey's one. No, Ceyenne has been here.
Hi, I'm here.
Oh my God. Hey. What is even better than decriminalization at the UN? We have Ceyenne with us. So
Yes.
I'll let Kate and Ceyenne talk.
Wonderful. Oh, we're so glad that you're here. Again, a woman that absolutely does not need an introduction. It's Ceyenne Doroshow, absolutely incredible powerhouse, founder of G.L.I.T.S. And she'll hopefully tell us about the staggeringly successful fundraising that they've done in the pandemic alone. So we're so glad you're here with us, Ceyenne. Take it away.
Hi, everybody. I'm just getting home from taking my staff.
Oh, can't quite hear you there.
Ceyenne, we cannot hear you anymore. No, no, no.
Mm-hmm.
Ceyenne, we cannot hear you.
Maybe she's just getting settled in.
We can't hear you. I hope I'm live on Facebook doing crazy gesture. I am. Oh no.
Ceyenne Doroshow, I don't want to spill all of your amazing stories myself.
I'm muted. Okay. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. So when COVID first hit, we decided to bail people out of jail. To not only bail them out of jail, to bail sex workers out of jail, put them in Airbnbs in good neighborhoods where they can thrive, where they can achieve some of the things that they did not achieve, but most of all, not go back to jail. Along with that, I gave this phenomenal speech that was just the truth. As advocates, we sometimes fail to tell the truth the way it is, not cutting corners. I've always been that type of person. I don't have hair on my tongue, so I will tell everybody everything. That speech generated not only a crowd, but a movement. And that movement was epic because what it did was raise enough equity funds so I could purchase equity housing for our community, and it's the total community, LGBTQIA and all the above. Because if we can provide housing and sustainability within realms that actually protects and teaches our community how to sustain and go to school, then we're doing something right. With all the funds that are going into policy and all the funds that are going into the world for dumb shit, how about something actually being done right? So a Black trans woman was able to buy a couple of $1 million building, and I'm putting community in there. I'm building a leadership academy. I'm not just putting crackheads in here. I want people that want to sustain, want that have a plan, and want to see the future where they are advocating and fighting, because I'm old. When I'm gone, I need the younger people and the other people to do this work that I've put in play. As an old pro myself, I may not be doing sex work like I used to, but I am selling it all for my community. So we can have a future. So we can sustain in ways that make sense and help people get to a higher side of what looks like organizing for us. Organizing within the sex worker community, as Juno said, has been horrible. People will eat you alive and come at you. You have to stay focused and steadfast. And the naysayers are going to be naysayers. The haters are going to be just that, haters. And it's okay. You don't need them. What you need is a support team. And as a sex worker advocate, I got a phenomenal support team. And I actually have a staff that understand me and get me and understand all my crazy, because I'm crazy. But also understand that there are several things we need to do for our community that makes sense. One of those things is to make sure that we have housing. Another one of those things is to make sure we don't go to jail for bullshit. That we don't go to jail for something that we have been doing our whole damn lives. The governments have lived off of sex workers. Presidents have lived off of sex workers. So why criminalize us when actually you have built your platform off of us? It's been a sex worker behind how many presidents? How many presidents have had a sex worker in their life? These are the stories people are not talking about. They only talk about it in tragedy. But let's talk about it in what it really is. Sustainability. Sex workers have sustained off of the backs of politicians for years. Now it's time for politicians to step up and do something right for us.
You're here. Absolutely. I mean, you know, you could say sex workers are the backbone of societies in a way, aren't we?
Yes.
And absolutely, isn't it? Absolutely. And I think the work that you've done is just really incredible, especially, you know, it's really easy for us to fixate on the laws, and that's because it would be the beginning of our fight for accessing rights and justice, to be able to have the proper infrastructure. But the best case scenario, you know, full decriminalization. But you know, we all know ourselves that it's, you know, to think it's a magical bullet, to think that it would, you know, automatically mean that people do want to engage with the criminal justice system, to think that it will erase the poverty and chaos and marginalization. I mean, this is and that's why to do these projects that really get to the root cause of our suffering day after day is such deep work, to be housing people out of jail, giving them a roof over their head, more stability. I mean, that work is it can't be understated how it really is at the foundation of being able to help sex workers out of precarity and chaos and to form community. Yes.
You know, yesterday, the mayor's office, one of the people running for mayor had called me, and she had asked, her people had asked, what can we do to create what you have done? And I said, simply step aside. Put discretionary funds into sex workers' hands and leaders' hands, and let them build the model that seems to work, because your system has failed our people for decades. So let us control our funds. Let us not be governed by your government, and let us build what looks like sustainability for our community in ways that make sense.
Hear, hear. Here, here. It has to be taking direction from us, doesn't it?
Yes, yes. In order to build a solid platform of understanding, they don't understand us, so don't fake and act like you do understand us. You don't understand us. So let us create the model of what this works look like, and let you put the money into embracing us. If you don't want sex work, God damn it, give us educations that get us Ivy League $70,000 a year jobs, $90,000 a year jobs. Give us what we need so we can stop doing what you don't want us to do.
Yes, yes. Here, here. Precisely. And can I ask, do you mind telling us a bit about G.L.I.T.S? And, you know, as you mentioned, this was this was no, I mean, this money that you raise, like, it's an incredible amount. Is there any sort of avenues particularly that you can speak about?
So G.L.I.T.S is gays and lesbians living in a transgender society. And the reason why I named it that is because we've always been last in the gay liberation. We have been last on the totem pole to get anything. Still today, we're sort of hunted and treated like the last slaves in the world, because we're still not put on platforms we need to be put in on every level. When I started this agency, it was to do international and global work, getting people from other countries here into this country. And I've achieved that. I've gotten girls to sustainability. I got a couple of nurses and doctors coming out of the sex worker community that I have sheltered and taken care of and guided. And that's the work. That I can now see sex workers that are becoming nurses and doctors. So if I'm on the right path, it's because those young people needed somebody to believe in them. And that's what this work is about. Believing and letting them lead and take charge of their life with guidance and sustainability. There's a chance for everybody to achieve the highest goals in life. And that's what G.L.I.T.S is about. And then fast forward to doing this work so diligently without being funded, without asking people for money, without begging for money, because that's what they wanted a Black trans woman to do, to beg, to write countless grants and not get the money. Guess what? The world showed every agency out here that support comes in many different ways. I think my outreach, my global outreach, me going to the UK, me going all over the world and talking to community and loving and hugging them shows the world that this is what we all need to be doing. And I'm a sex worker. So if somebody asks me what is my primary choice of support, it's sex work. I have no problem telling them, sweetie, I'm a hoe. I'm an old hoe. Because it is what it is. I used to live that in shame. When I created G.L.I.T.S, it took away the shame, because my advocacy is not just about me. It's about everybody in the spectrum. It's when I travel and I see these young sex workers and I embrace them. I will get out of a car and hug girls. I will give them the shoes off my feet because I can get another pair. I will give them my clothing because I want them to have a piece of me. And all of us that are in a position to change a sex worker's life and give them what they need to do it. We need to be stepping up in ways that make sense instead of fighting each other. A lot of organizing in this community is surrounded around us eating each other alive. I care not to do that. I don't get involved. I'm not that kind of organizer. I've stayed out of the mess. And that generated into thousands of people caring about organizing correctly and caring about taking care of people in a holistic, almost like a parent to the nation. This is what it's about. It's embracing people where they are and helping them make the necessary changes they need to make. I don't necessarily want to tell somebody to stop doing sex work, but I want to help them stay safe. I want to guide them into tomorrow. That way I don't get, traffic is a big word out here in America. I don't want to get hung up in that shit, but I want sex workers to be free and to be safe. That's what it's about.
Absolutely. It's the hearts and minds part of it that's at the core, isn't it? And being family for each other. So many sex workers have been kicked out of their houses. So many people have lost the people close to them because of merely being a sex worker. And so to provide that is just essential. It really is. And so we just absolutely unendingly give our thanks to you for that. It's just so deeply important, and we can't freaking wait to show up at this space. What part of New York City are you guys looking at there?
So we have a 12 one-bedroom Apartment building with a learning institute in the basement, and I like to call it the Pink Lounge.
Nice.
And we're actually doing our first event tomorrow since the opening. We're doing our first sex worker event tomorrow in honor of December 17th. We're doing sort of a telethon online.
Great.
And we have people from all over participating by via Zoom and Instagram. And we have wonderful performers. So we're still acknowledging, but December 17th is on a Thursday. And I have been doing this event every year, really, really big, changing the game on what this day really means to us, because it's very important that we tell the world to protect us, that there's a pandemic against trans women, period, that lives are being taken. In the midst of COVID, the world decided that they would come down on trans women. The amount of murders since the beginning of COVID nationally has been horrible. So we have to bring acknowledgement to this, but also I don't want people to be depressed or hurt. So my events are basically to raise the names and celebrate the lives of people that have been taken away from us in the most beautiful way possible. And I've done this now for 4 years. And my staff, I would be nothing without them, because these babies keep me going. They keep me grounded, and they're here when I'm good and when I'm not okay. A lot of this work is a lonely world for somebody who has the whole world looking at them. My staff keep me afloat and keep me rocking. And just, I don't know what to do over the Christmas holidays without them. It's going to be horrible for me.
Well, we're all just a mouse button click away, of course. You really embody that generosity and tolerance that sex workers, so many of us have, this understanding of the complexity of our relationships to the work and just whatever we're going through. It's really amazing to see how we are able, more than so many other people, to create space for that, to just say, we're going to love you and create safety in a space around you to be able to go through whatever you need to go through. So, gosh, thank you so freaking much, Ceyenne. And like I said, we can't wait to follow and pop in ourselves when we can come over to the Big Apple. Thank you so much.
Tune in Saturday. It's going to be from 3 to 7 our time. It's going to be epic.
Great. And
it's on G.L.I.T.S Instagram and Doroshow Instagram. It's going to be, I think, what the world needs to see. Us at our best, showing the world, because we only have Zoom and Instagram these days, but we're still being counted, and we're still in this game, changing the world one sex worker at a time. We're doing it.
Absolutely. So that's Saturday, 3 o'clock New York time, the Instagram of G.L.I.T.S, which is G.L.I.T.S. And Ceyenne, what's your Instagram handle there?
Ceyenne Doroshow.
Great.
And
that's it.
It's just Doroshow. My staff have to keep me up on this stuff.
It takes everybody, doesn't it? It takes all the moving parts. It really does.
A village.
Really, it absolutely takes a village to raise these babies. Thanks so much. And I think you mentioned, Luca, that Giovanna won't be with us today. Is that right?
Sorry, I'm trying to sort out the music, so 1 minute. Sorry, what was your question, Kate?
I was saying, is Miss Giovanna unable to join us? Is she?
Giovanna, est-ce que tu es dans la... Est-ce que tu es là? Je ne crois pas. I don't think so.
Okay.
We really wanted to have Giovanna with us tonight, and she should have been here to talk about the work they've been doing during the pandemic to support migrant trans sex workers in France. but there was an emergency, so I don't think she will be able to join, or she might be late. I'm going to check again. So
great. So again, I just want to thank everybody. I mean, there's so much work that went into doing this digital festival. We can't say enough, you know, Elio and Laszlo and Chuck, our technical developers back there holding it down. Swarm, Decriminalized Futures, of course, Lucas Stevenson, Bogey, everyone at ICRC. So thank you so much to our amazing speakers today, Antonella and Juno. Is anybody else out there drinking? I might pop this little puppy and do a little bit of a tune for you guys. Let's see how this works. Oh yeah. Is anybody else drinking? It's been a long week. Let's see. Oi. Uh-huh. So. Uh-oh. Oh, it's really hard. I needed to screw it in more. Okay, guys, bear with me. Do we have some mood music for when I'm doing this?
Maybe you could shake it a little bit, Katie. Shake a little
Shake
bit.
it? No, girl, I'm trying to drink it.
And it will go out.
Shake it and it will go out. No.
oh, okay, I can start the music now if you want. I was wondering if you wait a bit more, if anybody had a...
Kate's gonna do a song.
Okay, I do a song. Sorry?
You wait, Luca, wait.
I wait.
Play some music while I pop this thing, though, if you can. Do you not have any?
I was told to wait.
Ah, okay. That's okay. Oh, okay. Oh, wow! Heart power, you guys! To our strength, to our resilience, to our organizing, to our art, to all of the individuals and the collectives that make it happen. You guys are so inspiring. Thank you so much. I will do a little bit of a tune here for you. Cheers, everybody. Woo! Check. Shout out. Who got a girl crush? Check, 1, 2, 1, 2. Check, 1, 2, 1, 2. Yes, y'all. So this is Lady Groove. Listen, y'all, we spend so much time concerned about all of our struggles and the state and the police and everything. But so why don't we just take it back to our good old-fashioned frivolous concerns like time-wasting clients? Oh, and it's a cliffhanger, cause we got Giovanni in the house. Giovanni, welcome.
Oh my God, this is kidding. So Giovanna is arriving now in like 2 minutes. So you know, when you organize as sex workers with sex workers, this is how it happens all the time, and you have to be very fluid. And this is why it's always great, because it keeps you on the edge of the seat until the last minute. So we really want to have Giovanna with us. She's joining now. So it's kind of funny because the rest of the festival went really smoothly. We think we had 1 or 2 little hiccups, but tonight is chaos. But I guess this is part of the movement. So it's
live theater. It's dangerous. We love it. We love it. So I'll give Giovanna a little bit of an introduction there. Giovanna Rincon is the director of the migrant trans sex worker organization G.L.I.T in Paris. Born in Bogota, Giovanna has been fighting for these communities for the past 20 years. So we're really looking forward to hearing about the work. Thanks for making it, Giovanna.
Giovanna, es-tu là? What is...
He has not arrived yet. Let's.
Okay, let me do my little tune. Let me do a tune.
Amazing. Yes.
Let me do my tune. It's called Pay Pig. It's called Pay Pig. All right. Y'all hear? Yo.
Oh.
You guys know what I mean? Y'all know what I mean? Hey, pig, wanna hear what we're saying? Send that tribute. A real simp really gotta get drained. I'll degrade you for ya. Block numbers blowing me up, gotta curse you. No, I won't pick up, not giving you pleasure. I'ma fuck you, gotta pay to play you, little cock you. Time wasters round the clock. Shoulder squids, I'll insult your cock. It's little bitty, useless, wrong. Baby, don't play along. Hey, pig, wanna hear what we're saying? Send the tribute. A real pay pig, we gotta say, send the tribute. Hey, pig, wanna hear what we're saying? Send the tribute. Hey, pig, hey, pig, hey, pig, hey, pig, pig. You gotta pay to play, pay to play. You gotta pay to play, pay to play, pay to play, pay to play. So cop the fuck on. Thanks, yeah. Giovanna in the house.
Hello, hello.
Bonsoir Giovanna, merci de nous avoir rejoints. Alors je vais faire la traduction parce que évidemment Giovanna va faire la présentation en français et je traduis simultanément ou juste après en anglais. Ok? I will translate. Giovanna will present in French and I will translate straight after. Giovanna, thank you so much for joining and we want to hear from you what you've been. Tu ne parles pas. Bienvenue et on voulait entendre de toi ce que vous avez fait depuis le début de la crise avec Covid et même avant, tout le travail que vous avez fait. Donc, c'est à toi.
Merci Lucas, j'aurais vraiment aimé venir avant, mais malheureusement, il y a des choses qui se passent en ce moment en France qui sont très importantes et que nous attendons beaucoup de cette action qui arrive aujourd'hui avec le ministère Égalité Hommes-Femmes. Et donc, c'est un honneur de pouvoir être ici. Merci pour l'invitation et d'abord, félicitations à toutes les personnes trans, travailleuses du sexe et les personnes cisgenres, travailleuses du sexe qui sont aujourd'hui engagées à niveau mondial. Merci à toi, Lucas, aussi pour ton travail. Merci vraiment à tout le monde et à toutes ces personnes, ces belles personnes qui sont mobilisées aujourd'hui.
Okay, so Giovanna wished she had been able to arrive earlier, but there was a very important last-minute meeting following some political development in France that we cannot share yet. It's really an honor to be here, and thank you for the invitation. And first of all, congratulations to all the trans and cis sex workers and activists who are working non-stop around the world.
Je crois que ce que nous avons mis en place avec la crise de Covid, ça a été rapidement utiliser notre propre expertise du passé. C'est une expertise qui revient de très loin, qui revient de la lutte contre le sida, qui revient aussi de l'invisibilité que nous avons eue dans la lutte contre le sida, comment nous avons réussi à dépasser cette invisibilité et comment aujourd'hui nous avons réussi dans la lutte contre le sida à démontrer que ces acquis-là nous servaient aussi pour lutter contre la Covid.
So from this COVID crisis, really from the start, what we use is our expertise that comes from the past when we had to organize against HIV, and we had to overcome this invisibilization of our community, invisibilization of trans people, of sex workers, of migrants, and we fought really hard to fight against this invisibilization in the HIV movement already and now in COVID.
Une chose très importante au début de l'épidémie en France, c'est le protocole qui a été présenté par l'État et par le ministère de la Santé, c'est-à-dire il fallait mettre en place la distanciation sociale, il fallait mettre en place la distanciation physique, ce qui veut dire pour les personnes travailleuses du sexe, effectivement, arrêter de travailler, arrêter d'avoir des pratiques sexuelles.
So what's really important is from the start of the pandemic, the government developed this protocol for safe distance between people, which actually meant that for sex workers, it was not possible to work anymore, and sex workers had to stop working.
Nous, on a reçu un protocole qui nous obligeait à fermer l'association et d'arrêter toutes nos actions physiques de prévention du VIH, du dépistage du VIH, d'accompagnement social et sanitaire physique des personnes. Et nous avons opté pour ne pas appliquer ces protocoles-là et de créer notre propre protocole un peu contestataire, un peu subversive, mais qui allait démontrer, on savait déjà depuis mars que ce protocole qu'on envisageait de mettre en place, un protocole proactif, pro-sexualité, avec la notion de réduction des risques, était possible. Et donc, nous avons créé toute une stratégie que je vais t'expliquer.
So this protocol put on by the state meant that for G.L.I.T, the organization had to stop working because it was not possible to work safely. But instead, they decided to go against the rule of the government, but to continue working and to continue to provide social support, health support, testing, etc. to the community. And this was a bit like in a reaction, in protest at the government, because they knew that it was possible to develop a harm reduction approach in the pandemic as well.
Nous avons très rapidement mis en place la distribution alimentaire. Jusqu'au présent, nous avons distribué à peu près des 3000 colis alimentaires. De l'autre côté, nous avons créé nos propres outils de prévention. Dans un moment où il n'y avait pas de gel hydroalcoolique, il n'y avait pas de masque, il n'y avait aucun outil de prévention en France contre la COVID, nous avons réussi à mobiliser plus de 80 bénévoles qui sont partis à chercher des masques, du gel hydroalcoolique dans toutes les pharmacies en plein confinement, et on a réussi à créer notre propre kit, medikit, contenant tous ces outils-là, compris le thermomètre pour monitorer la fièvre qui était quand même l'indicateur majeur pour monitorer la santé des personnes travailleuses du sexe en plein confinement.
So from the start of the pandemic, they organized food distribution. They were able to distribute 3,000 food packages to migrant trans sex workers. But they were also able to provide tools of prevention, because you have to remember that at the beginning of the pandemic, there was no even available gel, mask, thermometer. So what they did is they mobilized 80 volunteers. And these 80 volunteers went all around Paris, trying to find pharmacy, to find gel, to find masks, and make packages to give to sex workers, and in particular thermometers to be able to monitor the temperature.
Et nous avons très rapidement compris que le plus important aussi, c'était de garder la communication dans une période d'éloignement des personnes, de distanciation physique. Il fallait mettre en place une équipe de 3 médiatrices en santé qui ont fait l'interface en permanence 18 heures par 24 sur 24 avec toute la population trans qui était complètement perdue, paniquée, qui tombait malade, qui nous appelait pour déclarer qu'il était déjà gravement malade avec la fièvre. Nous avons, avec ces 3 médiatrices de santé, permis de monitorer la fièvre, entre guillemets, collective de la COVID. Et nous avons aussi réussi à appeler les secours, à accompagner les personnes à hospitalisation. Nous avons accompagné aussi toutes les personnes qui ont été hospitalisées et celles qui ont été en réanimation avec l'accompagnement de ces médiatrices en santé.
So soon we understood that what was really crucial is to keep the communication with the community, keep communication with all the trans sex workers and all trans people in the community, because many were really scared. There was this really big panic in the community, not knowing what they could do. So what they did is they organized 3 health mediators, like 3 health people that would be in constant touch with the community. So they had this helpline. That was available 18 hours a day, 18 hours out of 24 hours. And there they could be in touch with the trans community and be able to support them when they were getting ill, giving them information, translating information from the government, and bringing people to hospitals as well. And so Giovanna said, like, they were able to monitor this collective fever of the community. Yes.
Nous avons aussi très rapidement décidé de créer un fonds d'urgence COVID avec de l'argent qui nous permettait à ce moment-là, en mars, de fonctionner. Fonctionner, c'est-à-dire c'est payer notre local, payer les personnes salariées de l'association. Donc, on prenait une décision très dangereuse, c'est-à-dire on risquait la fermeture de l'association parce qu'on utilisait ce qui nous permettait de vivre en tant qu'acceptés. Mais cette décision a porté ses fruits parce que par la suite, nous avons fait un plaidoyer énorme, un plaidoyer artisanal sur les réseaux sociaux qui a très bien fonctionné. Ce réseau de virtualité artisanale est très puissante parce que ça nous a permis d'interpeller le pouvoir public et nous avons réussi à obtenir un fonds d'urgence COVID de 200 000 euros qui nous a permis de payer grande partie des dettes des loyers des personnes, de garantir que ces personnes ne soient pas expulsées de leur lieu d'habitation et de aussi héberger les personnes trans qui se sont fait expulser de leur lieu d'habitation ou des hôtels où elles vivaient à ce moment-là, en fait.
So they decided as well to organize like an emergency fund for the community. And what they did, actually, they took the decision to use the funding from the organization to pay for the rent, for the staff. And this was a big risk because it meant then there would be no more money for the organization to run anymore. And they were risking closing the organization by doing this emergency work. And what they did is a lot of advocacy, developed lots of like outreach on social media. And through this, they managed to reach the authorities, and they were able to obtain 200,000 euros, which was then used to pay the rent in particular and the housing of trans sex workers, paying for hotel rooms, paying for housing, because many trans sex workers were being thrown into the street from hotels and from their houses.
Le plus important, et peut-être pour finir, parce que c'est long, je voulais juste vous dire que le résultat de toute cette stratégie n'est pas terminé. Nous sommes qu'au début, mais nous sommes très satisfaits parce que nous avons réussi à travers la COVID, à travers les conséquences de la marginalisation et l'appauvrissement de notre population, nous avons réussi à prendre le pouvoir du plaidoyer, nous avons réussi à prendre le pouvoir de la parole parce que nous avons donné du concret sur le terrain, là quand les institutions se sont vues incapables de réagir. C'est nous, notre association, aujourd'hui, qui est devenue un symbole en France sur la question de vraiment comment la réponse communautaire est une vérité, est une stratégie de démocratie sanitaire. Elle permet aussi d'être sous le front en première ligne. Nous sommes les premiers, avant les médecins, à être capables d'agir contre une épidémie.
So Giovanna is going to end soon, but she was saying that they are really satisfied with the strategy that they developed. It's not over yet, and they are still doing lots of work. But basically, through COVID, they were able to show the power of the community, power of advocacy, managing to reach institutions that were completely ignoring us until then. And they really showed that the organization, are the symbol of this community organizing that is really doing the frontline work, even before doctors, before hospitals, is the community itself, sex workers, trans people, migrants who are organizing to prevent more contamination, etc. And they will continue.
Et pour finir, le plus beau et le plus majestueux de toute cette stratégie que nous avons mis en place, c'est que nous avons réussi à envoyer un message de solidarité, de mobilisation très importante à l'intérieur de notre communauté, à l'intérieur de la communauté trans TDS et pas TDS, de la communauté LGBT TDS et pas TDS, cisgenre. Donc, ce message consiste à se dire rien n'est possible pour nous sans nous. Et que, évidemment, ce que nous avons aussi envoyé comme un message à les personnes les plus défavorisées, celles qui ont peur de parler, celles qui ont peur de donner le visage parce que le stigmate d'être pute, d'être trans, d'être migrante, sans papier, d'être séropo est très lourd. Mais nous, avec notre stratégie, nous avons envoyé le message le plus beau, le plus fort, le plus miraculeux, le plus soignant, c'est-à-dire nous sommes là, nous sommes capables, nous sommes solidaires, nous sommes mobilisés, nous avons donné du concret et c'est pour vous. Et vous n'êtes pas seul. Et je pense que la communauté aujourd'hui l'a compris, il sort du silence. Il y a un comité dans l'association qui va se créer. C'est la première fois qu'il va y avoir un comité des personnes trans sans papier qui va être renforcé et qui va donner la tête forte devant le gouvernement pour réclamer pourquoi pendant 30 ans ils vivent ici et jamais il y a eu des politiques publiques pour s'en occuper de leur vie. Voilà.
So to finish, I think Giovanna was saying what has been the most beautiful message, the most beautiful lesson from this organizing is that we were able to send a message of solidarity to the community itself, the community of trans people, whether they are sex workers or not, the LGBT community, migrant community. And this message is that it's not possible to do anything for us without us. We have to be involved. We have to be leading the response. And it was a message to those who are afraid to speak, those who are stigmatized, whether they are sex workers, undocumented migrants, living with HIV, trans people, those who are the most marginalized, that we are able to organize and we are able to reach, to speak for ourselves. We are here, we are organizing ourselves and really telling people from the community, you are not alone, you are part of the community. And then Giovanna was finishing by saying that they are now developing a committee of undocumented trans people within the organization to really send a strong message as well to the government that, for 30 years they've been ignoring them. The organization exists for many, many years and they've always ignored them. And now it's really time to listen to the community.
Merci beaucoup.
Thank you, Giovanna. Thank you for your work for this many years. It's really incredible. And of course, COVID giving us the opportunity for you to once again flex that adaptability, flex that ability to stay buoyant and present amidst the chaos. So we really help you for this. We thank you for this lioness work. And everybody thanks you. Thanks to everybody for being here tonight. We're going to conclude by having some tunes by the DJ Pipi de Fresh. Thanks again, everybody. Whore fucking power.
Merci. Thanks very much.
Merci beaucoup.
Thanks, everybody.
But you can't, man. I need you here. If you look at us, I don't care. She's trying to control me. I like when this is going. She started kissing on me. Now my hands are holding. Keep dancing on me. us, I don't care.